Meeting to order for Monday, May 19th, 2025. If you would stand and face the flag, we'll ask Terry Haycraft to lead us in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Terry. All right. Next item on the agenda is the approval of the regular meeting minutes from May 5th, 2025. These have previously been sent out last week for everyone to go over. If there aren't any questions or concerns, I'll entertain a motion and a second to approve the regular meeting minutes.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Tim, second by Billy. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Next up is approval and ratification of bills. If there aren't any questions or concerns about the bills, I'll entertain a motion in a second to approve those.
I make a motion that we approve the bills as given.
Motion by Clayton. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Terry. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. All right, next up, we have visitors, and we have some beautification awards that we want to hand out. First one is to the Alice Theater, Robert and Mandy. Robert's not here, so if you want to come up here and hang out just a few minutes and we get them handed out, we'll take a picture real quick. Thank you. The next one is for Ashton, the Alice Theater. And while we're doing this, I want to express our thanks and gratification that you guys have taken this project on. It was something that needed to be done for a long, long time. You guys did it, so thank you.
Amen.
Next is Alexander Hotel for Robert and Mandy. You stay up here, Mandy. Okay. Next is the restaurant location, Steak and Stone. Next is the Rabbit Hole, Robert and Mandy. Don't run off. I'll tell you when you can leave.
I think that's her last one.
Yeah. Kendra for the Rabbit Hole. There's a lot of work went into that too. We do appreciate all that.
Looks good.
Danielle, we have a couple for you, 115 and 119 East Main. And Earlene for 90 Public Square. Get that. You guys want to get up and come in and everybody get a picture together?
Sure.
How do you want to do it? Let's all go up and get.
Try to get
Let's
all
give
of
them a
them for
hand
sure.
first. Yeah.
I might have to stay behind.
All right, we'll stay behind.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
See back of my head in the picture.
Okay, thank you guys. We sure appreciate everything you do.
All right,
Thank
next
you all.
up, Mr. Chip Sutherland from Baird Financial Services is here to discuss the fire truck financing. So, Chip, whenever you're ready.
I think that was on.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mayor. Nice to see everyone. Chip Sutherland with Baird. Also Christian Juckett with Reuben Hayes. And we have a resolution before you to consider for the financing for the equipment that Sabrina was securing. So I figure what we'll do is I'll kind of talk about the process we went through, Sabrina, and yep. What's that? Oh, yeah, you got to suffer this with me. Go ahead.
Okay, yeah, we had worked on this, and
we had looked at bonding or leasing, what would be the best, and we feel like keeping it local, if we can get a better rate here local, or a comparable rate here local, trying to keep it local. So that's kind of the route that I had thought was gonna be the best, Mayor had thought was gonna be the best, and after Chip and I talked, he agreed that would probably be the best option. So, we asked them to work on this, and I'll let you explain, because you
Okay.
did all that work. I just started you out there.
No problem. So what we did, a couple of things we did, the city, like with this facility here, issued bonds, I guess, hard to believe, but 5 years ago or 6 years ago now. And, you had the general obligation tax pledge of the community of the city of Leitchfield to put forth as repayment for that debt. And with equipment, even though it's expensive equipment, what you were looking at was a lease with an organization, and they were pretty good terms, but it was a lease with an out-of-state organization, and it was a quote. It wasn't a commitment. And so when we started talking, we ran numbers to say this is what it would look like if you did bonds, which were pretty good interest rates, but at the same time you're using up some of the city's general obligation sort of capacity that you have. And the idea was several-fold. One, you want to protect that, but two, also try to get some terms on a loan that you can pay back pretty quickly. Borrowing rates in general are pretty good right now. The idea was to go out over a 10-year period. That's what we ultimately decided on, and then try to find terms where you could prepay it at no penalty. Right now, she's earning good interest on deposits, which is important. So we have a financing that will be repaid over 10 years, but at any point in time, if with the input of the council, if you all decide to pay off some of the debt, you can, any or all at any time. So what we did is we drafted an RFP with specific terms in it, in conjunction with Reuben Hayes and Christian, and solicited to the 3 local banks. We got back 2 responses, and there was Sicilian Bank that was 5 1/8, 5.125%, and Wilson Muir Bank it was 4.47%. Both of them took the exact same security, which is just the equipment, and both of them allow prepayment at any time at no penalty. And both rates are fixed. That's the other key on them. So our recommendation is clearly for the lower interest rate. And in full candor, I feel compelled to tell you, I'm on the board of Wilson Muir Bank. I stepped out of, when it came to dealing with Wilson Muir Bank, I had my colleague Michael Oldigas, who's on the solicitation to handle any communications if it's necessary, or you would. But, I love Leitchfield, and there's no way I wasn't going to work on it. So I got a deep history here. My dad passed away a couple of years ago, huge fan of Grayson County. And so, anyway, there's no way I was going to work on it. But I wanted to let you all know my conflict and how I handled it. But anyway, that's the recommendation because the interest rate is low, so it's a better rate than what you had on the lease arrangement to begin with, and you have a local lending organization facilitating the loan. So I'll pause. I just kind of talked at you, but I'll pause if there's any questions about the responses or anything we've done.
What kind of payment or anything are we talking about?
It's roughly $185,000 per year for 10 years. She'll have an interest payment in fiscal year 2026 of about $66,000 because it's just part interest, but the full payments, and there's amortization of principal as you go along. So it's
Right.
not like it's $1.5 million loan that won't be paid back for 10 years. You'll pay principal back over that 10-year period. But the average payment's about $185,000.
Now, this was based on the 1.5. So we have the $1,442,000, I'm estimating, plus we have the additional equipment, which I know we had, it was originally discussed to use the fire dues money for the extra equipment. So that, we would need to decide if that was gonna be paid for still out of county dues, which I think we should, because that would put you over the $1.5 million. Obviously, the loan is up to that, so it would be the total of everything, loan closing fees and everything in there with that $1.5 million. If you all decide that you all want to put money down, personally, I'm not sure it's a good idea to do that right now because we're making on our money, but that's up to you all. My recommendation is to take the loan out, and then if interest rates on the money that we're earning, if it goes down, at that time, we cash in a CD that we're not making any money on anymore if those rates go down, and at that point, pay off the loan. But that's just my recommendation. It's up to you all what you all want to do. This resolution is to get a loan up to $1.5 million, which will pay for the entire truck, not the extra equipment.
And the CDs that you have, the cash you're earning, I can't remember the numbers exactly, but what were you earning on those? What ballpark?
Like, some of them 4.25, some 4.85, some of them 5 point something, so we still have some, which you all get that. I think I just gave you all one of those, so you should have all the list of
Which
what we're earning.
we're earning more than what we're paying.
And that was a little bit of the logic of just doing a 10-year loan, and then if we wake up 3 years from now, it's a different situation, and you're not reinvesting those funds at an amount you want, then you can prepay no penalty. So,
Yeah. What kind of closing costs is involved in a loan like this?
there's just two fees that when we solicited from the banks, we asked for no fees. So the banks aren't charging fees. I have a fee for our municipal advisory service, and Reuben Hayes has a fee for the legal aspects of it. Reuben Hayes' fee is $20,000, and our fee is $35,000, which is our firm's minimum fee for handling the work.
Now, the equipment can't be put in with it?
I mean, you can, but it'd be
Be a bigger loan.
a bigger loan, and, I mean,
Are we gonna have enough to pay for the equipment out of the,
yes.
Well, we should.
Well, we
Yes,
had a couple of commitments back when we were doing this. We got him for $50,000 for equipment from the county, or for the truck.
yeah.
And maybe we can take that and put it toward the equipment instead of the truck.
Right.
And that'd leave us 69,000 short. So I think it's the best way you're doing it. It's how you explained it to me.
Yeah. I mean, it's your all's decision, but I think, the extra equipment, it's not like, we do have the money to go ahead and take care of that. I did build that in the budget. We built it in originally, so it's in the budget to take care of that. I say we go ahead and take care of it, but like I said, it's your all's decision what to do. That's just my recommendation.
Is them rates locked in for 10 years?
Yes, sir.
I think we'll do it.
We have the bonus of being able to deal with a local institution also, which anytime we can, it makes it
plus.
good to
It's a plus for everybody.
solicit our local people and do business with them. I think you guys have covered. Any more questions to Chip?
So I think we just need to know if it's all right. Do we have to have a motion for that for the resolution?
Yes.
Yeah, we'll have to have a first and second, and then all.
I make a motion that we accept and put into place a resolution for the fire truck.
Motion by Clayton.
So if y'all don't mind, can I
Christian.
step in for a second?
Yes,
real
yes,
quick?
sir.
Yeah.
So I'm Christian Junkett, I'm with Reuben Hayes. I'm the lawyer who drafted the resolution. And so the way we thought we'd do it is give you a resolution with a blank in it, so you all could decide which bank you wanted to pick. We didn't want to assume you were going to pick one or the other. And so what I brought with me today is a copy of the resolution. I have two different copies, one with Wilson Muir, one with Sicilian. So if y'all want to, what you might consider is, everyone might have an opinion about this too, is approve the winning bank
Okay.
in one resolution. And then the second resolution, whoever you pick, you can adopt a resolution with the bank's name in it. And I've got it ready, and we can put it in the minutes as adopted, whether it's Wilson Muir or Sicilian. So if that's okay with you all, we can do that.
Sure.
Yeah,
Okay.
sure.
So on the first item, we'll say Clayton made the motion for that. Is that good? Still good, Clayton?
Yes, it is,
that's for
Yeah.
Wilson and Mirror?
for Wilson and Mirror.
And do I have a second?
I second.
Second by Tootie. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. The second resolution will be basically what we have here in front of us. Is that right, Christie?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And so I've got a bunch of copies of this. If anybody wants an extra copy, I
Okay.
can hand them out.
Yes, sir.
Same thing with Wilson, you're in. The other thing I did different was we don't have an amount yet, so we're like, we're 1.5 max. So the original resolution anticipated having the debt service schedule in it, but I took that out because we don't know what it is.
Yes, thank you, sir.
The truck's 1,442,838
Thank you.
or something, yeah.
Something like that, I don't remember what it was.
326, yeah. 1,442,326 is the purchase price of the equipment.
Now, this is not a lease, this is a purchase, correct?
Right.
It's in the form of a lease, and so here's why we did that. There's a state statute called the Governmental Leasing Act, and it allows a loan transaction, and you call it a lease for some weird reason, but it looks just like a loan. But what it allows you to do is negotiate the sale with local banks rather than put it up on a bidding platform. And that way you can control who you get your bids from. We still did it open, I mean, it's still a hidden, it's a closed. It's currently what-
So did your office reach out to each bank and say,
Correct.
Chips did. So it was still a bidding process without looks. Nobody gets to know what the bids are.
How many banks did you
Three
include?
responses.
How many banks did you include in this
Three,
bidding
just
process?
three local ones.
Three local ones,
Yeah.
okay.
And so it's a platform that allows you to do that, rather than put it up on an internet bidding platform and have them bid by regional, national firms. You get to work with somebody local, you got good rates, and you can keep that transaction here.
Okay.
So I'm guessing that's a Bound Credit Union, Sicilian, and Wilson Muir, or was Bank of Clarkson?
Sicilian, and Wilson Muir.
Okay.
That's where we do all of our, with CDs and things like that, that's where we do all of our banking.
Okay. Any other questions for
But
Christian or
even,
Chip?
even if we're calling it a lease, at the end of 10 years, we own the truck.
That's correct.
Oh, yes.
And part of the odd thing about this statute, which throws people off, is you'll retain ownership. You're not gonna, the bank is not gonna hold title to the fire truck. You're gonna keep
Oh,
title.
okay,
The law allows us to do that.
okay.
For,
It looks just like a loan transaction, but it's called a lease because of this odd state law.
forgive my lack of knowledge of the law here, but I would like you to state, for the record, that there will not be an issue because of the terminology of the lease in the legal document here with our ownership.
Right, so the lease is attached to the back of the resolution, and the lease itself recites the relevant statute.
Certainly.
And it says in the lease specifically, explicitly, that title to the fire truck is going to remain with the city, and that the security is going to be lien on the fire truck by the bank. So they'll file a UCC one like you would in any kind of loan transaction. But the statute,
I'm going to nail you down here, though.
yes, sir.
The exact terminology of the word lease versus ownership. I want you to publicly state for the record that that's going to be okay in your legal opinion.
Yes, it is. It is okay in my legal opinion. And so the reason why we're involved at all,
Yeah.
Reuben and Hayes, is we're bond counsel, and we've worked on transactions for the city for 30, 40 years. And so what we do, we have two jobs.
Yes, sir.
The main one is to provide an opinion at the end of the transaction that tells whoever holds the debt that it's tax exempt. That's all that means is they don't have to pay, the bank doesn't have to pay income tax on the interest you pay them. To get that opinion, we have to make sure you follow state law and federal law, because there are lots of rules related to this kind of debt. And that helps you get a lower interest rate. That's the whole reason why we're involved, Reuben and Hayes. The other thing we do is we participate in these transactions to keep you out of trouble. We know there are lots of rules about how you're allowed to spend the money. It was like when this building was built, there were some, it took a little while to spend the money, and we worked with the city over the next year to figure out how we were going to spend that money, and not get in trouble with the IRS,
Okay.
because there are IRS issues.
Let me ask the follow-up question then, sir. You said there's some hoops that we have to jump through just to make sure that we're, kosher here legally.
Yes, sir.
What are those hoops that we need to jump through with it being a termed as a lease rather than ownership?
And so it's not a new statute, and it's, let's see, the reference is KRS 65.940 to 65.956. It's called the Governmental Leasing Act. And that, it's old, it's been around for a while, and honestly, it was created for programs, leasing programs that are run by Kentucky Association of Counties and the League of Cities. They use these statutes for their loan programs, that same set of statutes. And so we can use it, the city can use it for other transactions as well, which is why we picked it for this one. And Chip and I have used it when it's relevant to a particular transaction, when it benefits the borrower, the city in this case. So it's a governmental leasing act, and that's a statute, and Chip found the reference, but now I can't remember where it was. Page 8.
Or Section 8, maybe.
You've done several transactions like this with cities and municipalities where you use the lease terminology and the lease route rather than the
Yes, sir.
ownership?
Many,
Many, okay.
many.
Maybe page 8, that's what it
Okay.
is. Isn't it?
And I had talked to the mayor, this is one of the reasons why I involved Chip and Christian, because I don't understand KRS, I'm not an attorney, I don't even pretend to be one,
6.1.
so I don't understand all the rules and laws.
I
and
don't
things
either.
like
That's why I'm
that.
asking the
And they
questions.
deal-
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly, and they deal with this stuff all the time, and the city has done business with them in the past on multiple bondings. So that's the reason that I asked them to help assist us in this, to make sure that the city wasn't in any trouble with how we did it, because there's so many different laws you have to follow to make sure you do it right.
I respect that. I'm just doing my due
No, you're
diligence
good.
on
Yeah, these are
behalf
good
of
questions. I
the
like-
people of Litchfield.
So page 8 of that lease, it's on the back of the resolution there. Section 6.1 is, the title is title. During the term of this agreement, legal title to the equipment, which is the fire truck, and any and all repairs, replacements, substitutions, and modifications to it shall be in the lessee. So the city in this case is the lessee. So the city retains title to the equipment, which is the fire truck.
Who is the leaseor?
The bank.
The bank.
Yeah. And Wilson and Muir, I suspect, they'll have, well, I know, we already talked, they'll have bond counsel, they'll have a lawyer for the bank working on this transaction, and they've done deals like this before. They've
If
seen
they're
them.
using David Vickery at their expense.
Correct.
Certainly.
So that was section 6.1 of the lease.
So my understanding, just from a layman's standpoint, the bank will actually maintain ownership until it's paid off, and then the ownership is transferred at that point.
No,
correct?
the city retains ownership of the fire
City
truck.
retained day one?
Correct.
Okay.
You're gonna buy it, and
It's-
it's gonna be in the city's name.
It's ownership in every way except for name only. Is that correct?
No, city has ownership. The bank
Okay.
has no ownership interest.
Okay.
They have a
So-
lien on it,
so-
like when you go buy a car.
So the terminology lessee and lessor is
Reversed.
irrelevant? Yeah, okay,
Yeah,
okay,
it's a loan transaction.
okay. Just doing my due diligence here,
No, that's
guys.
not, it's a good question, because I'm not surprised you asked. It's a weird, the terminology is odd, which is why I mentioned it.
Yes, sir.
But the bank will understand it, and it's
Understood.
fine. Yeah, it's not an unusual transaction. Anybody else?
As long as you're representing the city and you state publicly in your legal opinion that we're fine.
Yes, sir.
Good to
And-
go.
And my ethical obligation is to the city. I'm the city's lawyer
Yes, sir.
in this transaction.
Okay.
Anyone else have anything for Christian or Chip?
No.
Thank you, gentlemen. We appreciate you coming down. Sabrina, did you want to say
Did we get-
something?
I know we got a motion to accept the Wilson and Muir. Did you get a motion for
No, we
the
haven't.
resolution?
I was
No,
getting
we're
ready to say the
getting ready
same
to do
thing.
that.
Just
Sabrina.
wanted to make sure.
You ready to do that? Okay.
That's it.
All right.
Thanks,
I'll
guys.
Yep,
entertain-
I'm sorry, I was going to take 10 seconds and just brag on Sabrina. We appreciate working with her. I've told you privately that, high regard for her, everything adds up, zeros and ones, and then, every detail, she knows the questions you guys are going to ask, so she rehearses that with me, and we talk it out, and she's a real professional, and we really appreciate working with you all through her, so thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
We try not to brag on her too much.
We appreciate you doing it.
All right, so I'll entertain a motion and a second to accept this resolution.
I make a motion, we accept the resolution.
Motion by Clayton, second, who said second? George?
George.
Second by George, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. All right, visitors, is there anyone in the audience that wants to address the council? Sheila? Scotty? He's busy back there, all right. We'll move on, second and final reading of an ordinance to repeal ordinance 2025-02. Erling, do you have something on that?
Whereas the city of Leitchfield, Kentucky previously by ordinance established a tourism convention sorry. Be it ordained by the city of Leitchfield, Kentucky that ordinance 2025-02 of the Leitchfield Ordinance Book Number 9 passed on January 14th, 2025 is hereby repealed in its entirety. Duly enacted on the 19th day of May, 2025, after first being read on the 5th day of May, 2025, said repealing of this ordinance to be effective upon publication. And this will be a roll call vote.
Does anyone need Erling to elaborate a little more on this? Okay. All right, so I'll entertain a motion in a second, and then we'll have a roll call vote.
I make a motion.
Motion by Clayton. Do I have a second? Second by Tootie. All right. Tim?
Aye.
George?
Aye.
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 Thank you, guys. All right, next up is second and final reading of amended ordinance for compensation of the Tourism Commission members. Erling?
Whereas the city of Leitchfield, Kentucky previously by ordinance established a tourism and convention commission compensation rate, and whereas the city council had determined that the members of the tourism and convention commission rate of compensation needed to be adjusted, now therefore be it ordained by the city of Leitchfield, Kentucky, that Section 4 of the ordinance relating to the establishment of a tourism and convention commission be amended as follows, with the added portions being underlined and the deleted portions being indicated by a line drawn through them and encompassed by brackets enclosing them. Section 4, the commissioners shall be appointed for terms of 3 years, provided that in making the initial appointments, the Litchfield City Mayor shall appoint 2 commissioners for a term of 3 years, 2 commissioners for a term of 2 years, and 3 commissioners for a term of 1 year. There shall be no limitation on the number of terms to which a commissioner is reappointed. Subsequent appointments shall be for a term of 3 years. The chairman of the commission shall be paid the sum of $350 per month, and the remaining member of the commission shall be paid the sum of $250 per month during respective terms. Effective July 1st, 2025, duly adopted by the city of Leitchfield, Kentucky on this, the 19th day of May, 2025, after first being read on the 5th day of May, 2025.
Okay. Any questions or comments on this from anyone?
I think with where we're at with economic development, I think tourism is one of the most important things that creates culture within our community and also raises standard of living. I'm for it.
Good. Anyone else? If not, I'll entertain a motion in a second.
I'll make that motion, Mr. Mayor.
Motion by Tim, do I have a second? Second by Billy, all in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
It'll be a roll call.
Roll call again? Okay. We'll start with Tim.
Aye.
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 All right, thank you, guys. All right. Next up is first reading of consensual annexation of residential property of Keith and Nancy Lucas at 1710 Sunbeam Road.
Ordinance annexing 3.735 acres of property located at 1710 Sunbeam Road, Litchfield, Kentucky, 42754, presently owned by Michael Keith Lucas and Nancy Lynn Lucas, with said property being contiguous to existing city limits, whereas this property owners own certain real property located in Grayson County, Kentucky at 1710 Sunbeam Road, Litchfield, Kentucky, 42754, and more particularly described in Exhibit A attached hereto, and by this reference made a part hereof, the property, and whereas the property meets the statutory requirements of consensual annexation under Kentucky Revised Statute 81A.410, and the property owners consent to the property being annexed into the city of Litchfield, Kentucky by prior written consent, whereas the proposed property to be annexed is adjacent or contiguous to the city, and the property is urban in character and suitable for annexation purposes, and whereas pursuant to KRS 81A.412, the city of Litchfield may annex any area which meets the requirements for annexation if the owner of record of the land to be annexed gives prior written consent in writing, and whereas the city of Litchfield declares it desirable to annex the property as described in Exhibit A of this ordinance. Now therefore be it ordained by the city of Litchfield, Kentucky pursuant to KRS 81A.412 as follows. The property presently owned by Michael Keith Lucas and Nancy Lynn Lucas located at 1710 Sunbeam Road, Litchfield, Kentucky, 42754, containing 3.735 acres, which property is identified on the attached map and further described in the attachments to this ordinance, all of which is contiguous or adjacent to existing city limits, shall be and hereby annexed into the city of Litchfield, Kentucky by consent of the owners, and the boundaries of the city are hereby extended so as to include and incorporate all of this real estate into the city of Litchfield, Kentucky. A copy of this ordinance shall be forwarded to the Public Works Department and Planning and Zoning. Those departments are hereby authorized and directed to make the necessary changes to the territorial limits of the city code of ordinances to reflect this annexation if required. The provisions of this ordinance are hereby declared to be severable, and if any section, phrase, or provision shall for any reason be declared invalid, such declaration of invalidity shall not affect the validity of the remainder of this ordinance. All prior municipal orders or ordinances or parts of any municipal order or ordinance in conflict herewith are hereby repealed. And this is a first reading, so we wouldn't vote on this ordinance tonight.
Okay. Any questions for Earlene on this annexation? All right. Next up is approval from Mayor Miller to enter into the recycling grant agreement. And I will entertain a motion in a second.
I make a motion that we give Mayor Miller the approval to enter into the recycling grant agreement.
Okay, motion by Clayton. Do I have a second?
A second.
Second by Tootie. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Next up, approval of the municipal order to adopt the new City of Litchfield revised personnel policy. I know we've had several discussions. I think Lori forwarded you some information last week about some of the things that we adjusted on that. Most of us, I can't remember exactly who all was there, but most of us were there, I think, and went over a lot of that. So if there aren't any questions or concerns about that, I will entertain a first and a second to adopt that revised personnel policy.
I'll make a motion to adopt the revised personnel policy.
Okay, motion by Terry, have a second by George. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. And the employees will thank you, I'm sure. A lot of good things in there. All right, next up, approval of the Public Works Week proclamation. We have a copy of that back here, I think. I'll entertain a motion in a second to approve that.
I'll make the motion to approve it, Mr. Mayor.
Got a motion by Tim, do I have a second?
I second.
Second by Clayton, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Wesley, we do appreciate you guys.
Yes.
Amen.
Every week, not just 1 week, but every week. All right, approval to declare a 2005 Chevy VIN, I'll let you guys read that was used at the shelter that we no longer have use of. Not
Just so
equal.
everybody knows, I think I put something in there. This was originally donated to the shelter from the detention center, and we found out last week that this has been out of commission for several years and is just sitting over at Public Works. It's inoperable, so we just wanted to get it declared surplus so we can get it off. We've already taken it off our insurance last week, but we want to go ahead and try and get that sold. I think we're gonna look and see if it brings enough. If not, we may see how much we'll get out of scrap, so, I don't know how much it'll bring, but we'll put it on Gov Deals first, and if scrap deal's better, we'll just scrap it.
Any questions?
Did they want it back?
No.
That's part of the deal.
We'll sell it to them.
Yeah. All right, I'll entertain a motion now to declare that
So moved.
excess. All right, motion by Billy, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Terry, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Next up is to remove Elena Tubb from checking accounts and add Mandy Blanton, our newest employee.
I'll elaborate on this just a little bit also. Right now, we have 3 check signers since Elena is gone. Our other AR clerk is going to be out for several weeks for surgery in the middle of next month, so that just leaves Sabrina and myself as check signers. So if one of us happens to be out, then we don't have the capability of writing a check. We typically wait 90 days before we put them on the checking account, but in this instance, we feel like it's best for us to go ahead and get her added, so we'll have check signers here.
I make a motion that we approve Alina Tubb,
Man.
remove her from the checking accounts and add Mandy Blanton.
A second.
Motion by Clayton, second by George, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. All right, we'll move on to unfinished business. Billy?
Wesley, you got roads for blacktopping?
I'm sorry?
You got roads for blacktopping?
Yeah, actually, we're trying to meet with, Scotty tomorrow.
Do you know when they're gonna do 259 South?
I do not. He said they had that coming up, so I figure it's gonna be pretty soon. But he didn't tell me exactly when they was gonna do it. I'm gonna try to get ours in before they do it.
Had a lady ask about a smaller garbage can. Can you get her a smaller garbage can?
Yep.
Still have some.
Yeah, got
Is it
plenty.
cheaper on the price if it's smaller?
I don't think so.
That was her main
but,
concern.
It depends on their age, I'm assuming.
Gotcha.
There's a
I'll
senior
tell her.
Discount.
Yeah.
I'll just tell her to come see you.
Yeah, just tell her to stop by the office. That's all I need.
That's all I had, Mayor.
All right, thank you. Terry?
Yeah, I also have a question for Wes. Is there any chance that some street signs might get replaced this summer?
Yes, and actually a speed limit sign, I think, may have went up today on Wallace.
That's good.
So,
But like the street signs, the ones,
They're working on them, whenever we get a chance to. But there's several. I drove all the streets this morning, and there's several that need to be replaced.
there are several. And Tyler's not here, so Mayor, I will ask you, but you may not know and may need to ask him.
Okay.
Do you have any update whatsoever on when the comprehensive plan may be finished? I mean, we're well over a year.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't have any, we've been told a few times that it was near and it was working on it and things like that, but we really haven't gotten as far as I know, we haven't gotten a commitment
When it
from.
gets near, it gets out.
When it gets near, yeah, no commitment that I know of any specific date yet.
All right, that's all I have. Thank you.
Okay. Judy?
No, sir.
Clayton?
Yeah, last time we started out discussing and it was tabled till this time. Everybody else has been getting their raises, boards, and the Board of Adjustment, again, has not got a raise. It was taken away from them previously, and they need to at least get it back. And I'm putting a motion out that we give the Board of Adjustments their raise back to where that they lost it. They took $50 away from them.
What was it and what is it now?
50, isn't it?
50?
I think they make 50. I think
It's
it was
50
100.
and
Are
the
they supposed to
chairman.
meet 4 times a year?
Yes.
Really, four, okay. They meet quarterly.
Quarterly, yep.
Is that something you'll need to draw up an ordinance
Yeah,
like what
it'll
we
have
just
to be
had
an
on?
ordinance.
So
If you all go ahead and take a vote to say you want to do it, I'll draft the ordinance and.
Yeah, it'd be
Yeah,
just
first,
like the
second
one
reading.
we just did for tourism,
this will be
basically.
a first reading. Will we have to do 2 readings on it or? Okay.
I make a motion that we give them the raise.
I second.
All right, have a motion on the floor by Clayton, a second by George to give them
I would make it more specific about how much the rate is.
I'm looking
He said
here.
50
$50 a month.
Okay.
per month.
Is it per month or per meeting, guys?
For meeting, ain't it?
Per meeting?
I think
Per month.
Per
Theirs
month.
is per
Per month.
month also, yeah.
Okay.
I don't,
They get that per month.
these don't go back that far, so.
Well, if we're going to do this
So-
for Board of Adjustments, then we also need to increase the code enforcement from $50 up to $100.
I agree.
So on the Board of Adjustments
That makes sense.
currently, the chairman makes 100. And I'm like Clayton, I think they took 50 away, so I think it was originally 150, but these don't go back that far. I would have to go back and
Well,
look at
that's.
the ordinance.
I
And then
talked to
the,
them.
So
The
they're meeting 4
commissioners make
times a
50.
year and we're paying $50 a month?
yes,
So that would go up to the chairman making 150 and the regular members making
yes,
100?
that's what I was,
Yes.
yeah.
$600 a year.
For 4 meetings?
That's why the 50 was taken away to start with.
Right.
Because they don't meet every month.
I think one of Clayton's, if I recall from last meeting, one of his concerns was when they have to do their continued education, these people are having to take off work, and I think that was one of the issues he brought up.
Yes.
Last month, just to throw that out there.
Do
And
they
I
turn
don't,
that into you?
do what?
Who'd they turn that into, continuing ed?
Tyler gets all, yeah, Tyler does all that, and they should be giving us a copy to put, or Tyler should be giving Jennifer a copy to put in their personnel file.
Planning and zoning.
Which goes along with.
That's just like,
That'd be 2 positions.
that's just like Dr. Nichols when he takes off to go to one of these meetings, why, he loses a day.
And I don't know how, without Tyler here, I don't know how often they have to do continued ed. I don't know if it's every 2 years, every year, I'm not, and how many
It's every
hours it
2
is, I
years.
don't know.
Every 2.
Okay,
Yeah, George,
They're required every 2 years.
gotcha.
is that like a single day training every 2 years? or-
Yeah.
Okay,
That's what Tim and I had to do.
okay.
8 hours, isn't it?
But they can have other
Yes, sir.
meetings too if they're called upon.
Yes.
What did you say, George?
They can have other meetings too
Like
if they're
special
called
call
upon,
meetings.
you know,
Yeah.
like a special call meeting.
But typically, their special called meetings are, what, 5 or 6 o'clock at night? The planning and zone, or Board of Adjustments?
I think 5:30, I think theirs is
Right.
usually right after planning and zoning.
All right, guys, what are you thinking? Is this something we need to move forward with, or do we need to, you guys want to have time to think about it 2 more weeks and decide maybe that we want to do
More than that, just that
more than
board?
just this one? When does?
Who have we not give a raise to?
To what now,
Who have
Billy?
we not give a raise to?
I don't think code enforcement has changed,
And Board of Adjustments.
And Board of Adjustments.
and just the
Mayor.
Board of Adjustments.
Those are the only 2.
Mayor's good.
I think planning and zoning changed. I don't know when theirs changed. Theirs has changed. I see that. It looks like it's just the Board of Adjustments and code enforcement.
Are both them 50
Yes.
Yes, and the Utilities Commission.
a month?
Yes,
But we don't pay utilities, correct?
right. But the ordinance would have to come through you all.
If we raise their
Correct, yes. And right now, their chairman's at 900 and the commissioners are at 500.
I think they're well
Do
compensated.
we
for what
pay
they
for
do.
you all's training?
Yes,
When you went for training, did we pay for it?
yes.
Did the city pay for your training, or did you try to get
City paid
reimbursed?
for it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we pay, if there's meals or mileage.
Meals,
we pay
travel,
all
and
that.
everything.
Yes. Mhm.
But now they have the little lunch there. We don't go out or anything. They just had a little snack lunch. like-
Where did y'all have to go for training?
Went to Bowling Green, one time, and
I've
then
been to
E-Town for
Owensboro.
another. Yeah.
I think did you go to Lebanon one time too,
Yeah.
me and you? Because I think you and I went to that same one.
If you all are considering it, this would be a good time, so I know to put it in the budget, so we don't have to do a budget amendment.
Yes.
So I'm just saying, like, if you're considering it, we might go ahead and, decide where y'all wanna do in the budget. Since we're working on that, we'll have to get that approved pretty soon. Not to pressure y'all or anything, but.
I would assume you all would do the ordinance the same as we just did tourism, make it effective
Well-
July 1.
We have two councilmen that's been on it.
Yeah.
Y'all tell me.
Okay.
Is there a recommendation from you all that you think that's not enough?
Here's what I think. I think it's an entry into public service. I think at some cases, gosh, we can't pay everybody. There should be some things that, people do just to serve the city. I would love to give raises to everybody across the board where everybody could make a ton of money and do great. We can't afford that as a city. And so we have to look, is this gonna cost us, long-term? Because we're doubling what they make. And believe me, me and George sat on the Board of Adjustments. What they do is important, but I felt like it was very well compensated at $50 a month.
The only difference when Tim and I was on it is we was already there. It comes after the planning and zoning board.
Yeah,
And if you got members that's coming,
there's that.
Oh, you were on both boards. You
That
were
was the
on
only
both.
difference
I
between Tim
understand.
and I. We was already there, and it didn't go out of the way for us to attend it because we was already there. It comes
Yes,
right
sir.
after the planning and zoning meeting, so,
Is not everybody, all the other boards got raises, and the code enforcement and Board of Adjustment, the only two that hasn't?
No. Utilities has not either.
Right.
I see your point, Clayton. Everybody else has gotten a raise.
So we want to move forward with giving the remaining two. Like I said, I think utilities are very well compensated for what they do, at $500 a month and $900 for the commissioner, for the chair. The other two at $50 a month.
Considering it's only 4 times a year, I mean, I
Yes,
think that's pretty good.
But I do see Clayton's point. I see Tim and Clayton's. If we, most of these boards that we've talked about are lower paying boards. I have no problem paying people for their time. That's what they're doing. They're selling us their time. Some would say they do it, as Tim said, out of the goodness of their heart. The payment is just a bonus for them. Some other people want to get paid for their time, regardless of what they're doing, so.
Here's a question. If we did double the salary, would we get better people than what we've got now? And I would argue that no. We've got some wonderful people that sit on those boards.
I agree.
So, that's an argument too.
I don't like to use the word double because your chairman is not doubling. So,
That's true.
just to clarify that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Sorry, I just,
No,
for the
no.
record, it's not doubling on the chairman's.
So,
Well, I know it's, serving on the, planning and zoning board, you know, I would make several trips out to the properties, you know.
Yeah.
To just scalp it out and, you know, look it over before I made my decisions. And sometimes they might drive out and do things on that too, I don't know.
And I think
But
planning
it's
and zoning.
everybody's opinion.
I know code enforcement usually does that as well, so, if there's properties involved.
All right, at this point, I think we need to take a vote. Does anyone have any objection to going ahead and voting on this? And we'll include both entities.
So Clayton's gonna amend his motion for both code enforcement
Yes.
and Board of Adjustment, 150 for chairman and 100 for commissioners, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
So we have a motion by Clayton,
Second.
second by George. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Nay.
Billy, that you're the one, right? You're the only one? Okay. I didn't think I heard any more voices, so wanted to make sure. All right. Unfinished business, George. Tim?
The only question I got, I watched the fiscal court meeting the other day, and Kevin mentioned something about the new Economic Development Board, and was just wondering if we had any updates on that, anything going on there.
Not anything particularly. We've met with one of the gentlemen today that Kevin is going to appoint.
Okay.
Right now, they're waiting on the legal side of it, getting everything drawn up, rules and regulations and all that. So once we get those legal papers drawn up and ready to go, I'd say we'll be starting moving forward. You'll see a little more movement on that.
Which law firm is handling?
I'd have to find out from Kevin. He told me Frost first, and then we figured out that.
Embry, Schaefer, and Merritt, maybe?
Excuse me?
Embry, Schaefer, and Merritt, maybe?
No, that's not who's being used. I've been corresponding with the
Okay.
attorney. I know, I hate to say that I can't remember her name off the top of my
I
head.
couldn't
but,
remember. I know he mentioned
We're
Frost
trying to
first, but-
schedule a meeting this week to go over. She has a first draft of the legal documentation, so her, Jeremy Logston, the county attorney, and I have been kind of in an email chain going back and forth. So I should have an update and a first draft to share with everyone pretty soon.
Okay.
And I can send the information on her name so that you'll have that information.
Certainly.
Thank you, Arlene. Anything else, Tim?
I have some new business when we get back around.
Okay. Unfinished business, anybody over the table there? All right. Let's move on to new business. Billy?
No.
Terry?
No.
Judy? Clayton?
Yeah, I've got, some people, ever since they've been a couple of people hit, there at Lilac Road and 259. I don't know what else we can do there. I've got Southern's wanting us to put, and we know that ain't gonna happen, a red light there.
State highways, we don't have any
Right.
say in that.
And, but I'm just I got several calls on that, and don't know what to do about that. And then, I was noticing as I was coming in after the lady got hit today, I was noticing that there is no speed limit signs between the depot and the courthouse square. Now, we all know what it probably is, but a lot of people coming to town, maybe people from another county, people from another state, coming through there, and one of our officers, if they're boogieing up through there at 50 mile an hour and get pulled over, where's your speed limit sign there?
What do you think the limit is?
Huh?
What do you think the
35.
speed limit is?
35.
Around the square?
No. I'm talking about from the railroad track up to,
Is there any change, David, from the railroad tracks to here?
I would think around the square, it would be understood to be like 15 miles per hour.
it would be understood,
Around the square.
but
It would
there's
be
no
35,
sign there.
It would be 35 up to the square.
Of course, you got a lot of people don't pay any attention.
Oh,
either.
well, that's probably what happened today.
No, yeah. But what about, the speed limit signs coming? And I know coming up through there, because I nearly got run over 2 or 3 times just coming to the meeting, tonight.
Yeah.
I mean, that would be the state. I mean,
Would that be the state?
yeah.
I can check with them to see if they've got any that's been knocked down or anything, just for them to make sure that they normally post. They're normally pretty good about posting their signs. But I'll check with them to see.
Wes can check also about the intersection there, Lilac and 259, but from past experience, I could probably say that stop signs about all we're going to get out there.
Yeah. Oh, I'm
There's
sure.
a lot of increase out there at that intersection due to the fact the bridge is closed going into Breckinridge County.
You're right, yes.
Because Lilac Road is, I mean, it's hammered out there. It really is. There's a lot of traffic on it.
Now, common sense will tell you how to drive coming up on the square anyway, but are they any kind of signs to put up before you get to the square? Speed limit signs, Wes?
I'll have to check with the state, because we can't put signs up on their state right away.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Check with them, because like I said, I mean, they were running over the top of each other as we come down here to the council meeting tonight. And you never know when a child's gonna, like we saw what happened today. Now, whether it's, no matter whose fault it is, a child can bolt out, anything can happen. And I'm concerned with that.
Any other new business, Clayton?
And the people going, I got some calls, and they were even out in our neighborhood today. What about the people that are soliciting, do they have to have a permit to solicit in the city, like services as they walk through the neighborhoods? You know, we want to sell this, we want to sell that.
We do not require them to have a permit. They do need to have business license.
Okay, but they do need a business license.
If they're soliciting for a business, right?
Yes. So,
So I would say on that, get a business card from them, go up here and give it to Lori, and they'll track them down and tell them they need a
Yep.
business license. They do a lot of tracking down like that.
We've got it.
Okay, I took care of
Brian got the information.
Yeah, I took care of that this afternoon, the one that was coming through there, doing that, and I didn't get to the door in time, and
They leave a card.
yeah, and they left a card, and I said, you know, man, this is getting monotonous because it's 2 or 3 times a day coming through there.
Well, the girls in the office spend a lot of time looking for those things, so if David's got some contact info from them, then I'm sure they'll be contacted for them.
Okay, I'm tired of making everybody mad. Next.
I don't think I'm mad.
I mean,
All right, George,
No, sir.
Tim? new
Yes, sir.
business?
Received a Facebook message from a citizen, and he's talking about the ballparks for spring ball, and I think it's for younger kids. He stated that, and this was, I don't know, middle of last week. He said there were no scoreboards at the location tonight. There was no soap in family bathroom 2 weeks in a row. And he said the concession stands always understocked. He said there's no adults present down there. There was only younger kids in the concession stand, running the concession stand. Move past that.
Did you talk to the director about it?
I did not talk to Jody about that.
Jody
about Tammy?
Jody would not be.
no,
Not
that
the
would be
director.
Trent
I
Van
haven't talked
Meter.
to Tammy about it either.
That's where I'd go first.
I
Yeah,
have discussed those things with Tammy. I got a similar message. hopefully those things will be corrected. As far as there not being an adult there, probably is not going to be an adult, what you would define as an adult. Now, there's a high school age young lady that's working in there. But there is an adult there at all times. The gentleman that we've hired to run the parks, softball and baseball, is there. Every time I've been over there, he's been there. So sometimes he's umpiring, sometimes he's not, just depends, but.
I understand. It's a
Does he
lot,
just,
and we
Harold,
can't
does
have
he
everybody
float,
everywhere.
just float back and forth?
Pretty much, yeah. So,
Just to finish up what he had to say, he said the lights had forced cancellation of a game before, and had problems working on Friday night when nobody available. He said also.
the lights, the field lights? I've heard that one.
So he also said that I asked him, well, what can be done differently? And the thing that he mentioned is, he said supplies as far as concessions should probably be ordered proactively instead of reactively. I don't know what's going on there. I don't have any kids, playing ball at that age. I just felt, it needed to be aired. So
Yeah.
there's that.
Yeah, and I will say, this year has been a much-needed improvement at the ballpark, but there are growing pains,
Yeah.
and,
Nothing's ever going to be perfect.
right. And those things, as we get them, like I say, I got a similar message to that last week.
Yes, sir.
Yes, last week, and talked to Tammy about it, so.
He said he sent it to several people,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
there's that.
So those things, most of those things are easy fixes. I've not known of any lights to be out. I've not heard anything about that. We've switched over 2 of the fields, Scotty, to LEDs now, and have plans to do more. So hopefully all those things will get better in the future.
Yes, sir.
We're trying to move in the right direction.
I'll give you this here at the end of the meeting, and, you can look into it.
Okay. All right. Anything else? New
Yes, sir.
business?
I do have one thing, and this is a political third rail, but we're going to touch it. I received an email from Jessica Embry. I agree with her, and she had an innovative way of looking at something that, is a little touchy to talk about, and that's annexation. She said, I know it's something that's been explored by city council numerous times in the past unsuccessfully, but forgive me, I can't see that well, but I can't help but think now is a great time to revisit this idea. I'm not sure that this is a conversation that has come up since I have been on the city council, but I wanted to see if you'd be willing to take a look. In the past, the idea has been quickly shot down, but I think a lot of it is the reasoning and how it was approached. There are so many benefits to both the city and residents if annexation of surrounding properties were to occur. The increase in median household income alone would make it much easier for us to recruit new business industry to our area. I think Leitchfield could benefit from researching how other cities have successfully executed a large annexation and learning what worked for them. In addition, I'm wondering if we could get creative in how we go about it. Typically, if someone can see their dollars going to something tangible, they're more likely to be agreeable. I'm wondering if we're to do an annexation and utilize that additional tax revenue for something specific for so many years, if it would help us encourage the citizens to jump on board. The first thought that comes to mind is the indoor recreation facility. I think another important key factor in this process would ensure each citizen being considered for the pros and cons. I am learning that many people believe if annexed, the taxes they paid each year would double, which isn't the case. The city taxes are much less than the county, and from conversations I've had this week, there are folks who don't realize that. She said she would be happy to meet with any of us or attend any brainstorming sessions on this matter. And I just want to encourage her and thank her for her care for the city and continue putting forth innovative ideas.
The last annexation we had brought up every property owner and homeowner in that subdivision signed petitions that they did not want it.
Yeah.
I have had conversations with some people in some other areas that joined the city that want to be annexed. My advice to them was to get with their neighbors, express their desire to be annexed and what the benefits, the pros and cons are. There are some pros, there are some cons. Most people that are adjacent to the city, they're going to get fire protection whether they're in the city or not.
Yes, sir.
They're going to get police protection whether they're in the city or not.
Gas.
Gas, utilities. So
Yes, sir.
those are some things that we have to take into consideration. I'm all on board. I'd like to see us annex some things too, but I think the citizens need to be on board with that for the most part. I don't think we just go and bull our way in.
No, absolutely not.
And because that didn't work the last time.
That's
That-
what tried to happen last time.
I think we have to sell it, not with just the benefits
Have to
that
sell
we
it.
get, but the 5,000-foot view of
Yeah.
what we can offer is, it helps those median numbers.
Right.
It can create industry growth because we have better numbers to present to industry, businesses, restaurants. And if we
agree.
can grow that.
Oh, your median income's what's gonna make it
Amen.
anyway,
Yes, sir.
anyway. But yeah, it was kind of down whenever all 27 property owners signed a petition saying they didn't want in.
Yeah.
And we already was there. And like the Lucases, did we ask anybody further than Lucases if they wanted in on Sunbeam Road?
Haven't at this time. There may
The thing
be.
about annexation, as far as I know, is we have to be adjoining to the property that we annex.
Yes, sir.
That's correct.
So you can start looking around at property lines or the city line.
And there are some ways around that, like what we did going out to the high school and the trade school, where we
If
just
you-
annexed
with
the right of way, basically.
With the right of way.
Yeah.
And if there's like a natural boundary, like a creek or something, that counts as well. It's still considered.
And my understanding on the plan and zoning, they can annex up to 5 miles, but it has to go through the physical court.
Okay.
And that discussion brought up one time.
Well, and I've always heard
They're
that
not gonna do that.
the area that you're annexing, the people get to vote on it.
Yeah.
You put it on the ballot and they're the only ones
Right.
that can vote on it.
Yes.
Sure.
Is that area.
I think so.
Yeah.
That's true.
So,
So there are some ways, and like I say, I'm all for, getting together with Jessica, whoever, come up with some unique ideas maybe to get people to consider it. But I think I think it needs to be considered and discussed with each resident, each property owner in the area that you want to annex before we move into taking that route.
It's not going to be services that sell it.
Exactly.
It's going to be the greater good
Yeah.
that sells it.
Yeah.
And if we can't make the marketing case for the greater good, then we're dead in the water there as far as that. But I think it's a case worth making because the upside is so good.
Scotty, do
agree.
you all have any of your people in your subdivision ever talk about possibly wanting to be in the city?
I think there's been some conversation out there, but right now, I don't want to speak for anyone else, but I don't know whether there will be a majority of people in our subdivision.
Okay.
I know some of us do, but I don't know that everyone would.
Okay.
And that's when we schedule some public hearings and things like that for people
Right.
that are either
Okay.
for it or against it and hear them out.
I know we really got slapped around, and which we should have. We went out there and kind of tried to bully. We didn't as a council, but some people in a another place down there, and the mayor knows what I'm talking about. You just don't go down there and start measuring, and well, we, send somebody in down there to scope out everything and then say, well, because, man, my phone got lit up, and,
That thing's on fire, ain't
Yeah.
and I
You have to
had,
keep the cart behind the horse, I think is what he's trying to say.
yeah, and people just, they brought me a petition that night that said, no, we don't want nothing to do with it. And don't send anybody else out here to start measuring our land and doing this and that, something else. We don't want it. And I said, I didn't know that it was being done. And they said it had, and then I brought the petition in, and I said, no.
Mayor, I
All
think
right.
this is something that's been brought up at the planning and zoning within the last few months. Tyler has sketches of plans with different phases. If you want to start with him, because I think that they've already started.
Researched it and looking at it, yeah.
Right.
So I'll get with Tyler, we'll look at it and see what they've come up with, and then we'll go from there, Tim. I'll let you know what's going on, and we can,
I appreciate that.
Move
You know,
forward.
like I said, it may be a hard road to hoe.
could be.
But the upside is worth it.
Yeah.
If we can talk a couple subdivisions into doing it for the right reasons. We're not gonna sell it on services we offer because they're already getting them.
We're already getting them.
But if we can sell it on the greater good, being good citizens, being part of something bigger, city of Leitchfield, and the intrinsic benefits of having better opportunities for job and restaurants, I think it's worth the marketing, maybe bring the tourism in, or some of those brains there to sell that a little bit.
I agree. We can find out a way.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
We probably have ordinances to supply services to some of these people that we annex in, and we have places that we would struggle
Yeah.
getting services to.
Well, especially with utilities, if people are,
Yes.
if that's a
Yeah.
deal breaker with a lot of people, that's something that we don't have a lot of control over, but a lot of discussion to be had with things like that.
Certainly.
Okay. Any other new business, Tim?
No, sir. Thank you.
Anybody over here?
I found the name of the attorney. It's with a McBrayer law firm, and her name is Ann Tyler Morgan with the McBrayer firm.
Okay. Thank you, Early.
Okay. All right. Other business, keep in mind the chamber luncheon for June will be on the 12th at noon. Please let Lori know no later than noon on Monday, June 9th, if you plan to attend. There will be a fire department committee meeting on June 2nd at 5 o'clock before the next council meeting. So if there are no other questions or comments, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I make the motion.
Motion by Clayton, second by Tim, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?